So, warning, this ramble is not going to be spoiler free. I needed to yammer on, though, about chapters 3 and 4 of Deltarune just a little bit, because I beat it the other night, and it's been a while since I walked away from something, and it just stuck with me like that, like to that extent, like, because there's just so much to think about going forward, mostly in the narrative sense, but like for the most part, like how creative things can get from here on out, because we are far and away from the days of Undertale where things were made, or where these games were developed with popsicle sticks and held together by school glue, Elmer glue, right? Because now we are seeing all these incredible technical feats and capabilities now that, you know, Toby is working with a team of people, and there's just, you know, a lot more to do and a lot more going on, and we're able to see that. We are truly able to see, like, what Deltarune could be and what it is, you know? It's truly an incredible little title that people just should not be passing up on by any means, right? So, I completed chapter 4 the other night, and I had to just sit there and just think, essentially, because there was just so many just narrative points to really want to delve into, you know? Like, again, spoiler alert, this is the last time you're going to get this warning, because I'm just yammering at this point. Things are just going to go from A to X to G to Z. Okay, so it's going to be all over the place. There's going to be no more warnings from this point on. Got it? Good. Constantly thinking about, you know, Carol's place in this story, you know, Noelle's mom, Noelle's place in the story, you know, what's going on with Asgore, okay, his relationship with Toriel, like why it's so strained in this universe, you know, what's going on there, you know, we still barely, truly, genuinely have a clue what's going on with Chris and, you know, the heart and everything like that, you know, like with us, and, you know, the different, you know, dark worlds that we've been to now, because it was so interesting, right? I was paying attention in chapter 3. We spent the entirety of chapter 3 in the dark world, in the one dark world. And a lot of chapter 4, like half to most of chapter 4, was spent in the real world, right? So I just find that really, like, crazy how contrast that was, right? Because I didn't even think about how long we were in the dark world in chapter 3 until we got to chapter 4, and we were spending so much time there. Like, we had like 2 different opportunities to go all around town. No, 3 different opportunities to go all around town and talk to everybody, which is crazy, right? And it really kind of shows, like, just how much, like, heart this game has when it comes to, like, all of its characters, all of its, like, story, all of its history, and things like that, when it comes to all of the characters that are involved with this town, with, you know, with this story. And, you know, I really got to see, you know, that care, that love, when, you know, being able to go around town and talk to everybody multiple times, because, you know, we didn't get to do that in the last chapter. So now they're like, okay, you haven't seen them in a while, spend some time with them, you know, get to know everybody, see what everybody's up to. And that's really, really cool, you know? And it's little stuff that really engages you in the story, you know, all of you are so heavily incentivized to just go talk to everybody, even if you don't really walk away with anything. You're walking away with a smile half the time, because all of these characters' dialogues and all their personalities are so shiny and so fun, and it's absolutely incredible to have that. And I miss it already. Like, I thank God he set a slate for 2026 for chapter 5, because I don't think I can wait another 2, 3, 4 years like we did for 3 and 4. So I'm very, very pleased by that, because I don't think I could go another full, like, 2+ years without all of this, right? And I'm very happy that Toby and the team are taking their time with it, because this story is truly immaculate, man. But let's step back a little bit. Let's look at it in a little bit of an order, right? First, we start with chapter 3. Thankfully, right? I hadn't played Deltarune in so long that I didn't even remember where I originally played chapters 1 and 2. I genuinely had no clue. And on top of that, I hadn't beaten the secret bosses of chapters 1 and 2 before, right? And, you know, going into it, I'm learning, like, are these secret bosses important? Yes, they are. Not only do they have, you know, their own unique lore purposes and things like that, but beating those bosses and getting what you need out of those bosses is leading up to something in of itself. And that is absolutely incredible. So, thankfully, I did what I needed to do. I played through chapters 1 and 2, like, as soon as, literally, I think it was day 2 of Switch 2. Because I did end up playing it on Switch 2, and I'm glad I did that. But I did replay chapters 1 and 2 to really, you know, re-immerse myself, because it'd been so long, and I'm super glad that I did that, because, you know, it's so easy to lose track of, like, you know, what Undertale, or what this universe is like, what this writing is like. It's such whiplash hopping into Deltarune after, like, a serious game, you know? And not that Deltarune isn't a serious game, because it very, very much is. Even hidden amongst all the humor, it's dark, man, but it's so good. Which is why I appreciated the opportunity to go back and just play through chapters 1 and 2, get everything that I needed out of those, and then go right into chapter 3, and it really is, the term "back like we never left" really does apply here, because you just get right back into it. Like, you can see the dialogue from these characters, and they're, you know, they're still so funny. They're still such real, genuine characters, you know? And you could see, like, all of the development that Susie had gone through the previous 2 chapters, like, immediately, you know, the way Ralsei was so, like, hesitant to, you know, accept Susie's offer to come to the real world and actually be able to hang out with them and be a real trio like she wants, you know? And Ralsei, of course, wants to do that, but it's not possible. And, you know, having to explain that story, the reality of what the Dark World is, it's just so heavy. And, you know, it is truly a feat of these writers, man, of Toby Fox and all anybody else who's involved. It is such a feat to be able to just so seamlessly blend such heavy, serious moments with comedy and humor. It's almost jarring how unaffected things feel. Like when you're completely cut off and just left field 180'd by humor all of a sudden, when Susie is just like, who do you think you are, talking about yourself that way, and, you know, like you're not real or something, you know? And just to be just gobblesmacked by Antenna, or by Mr. Tenna, you know? It's so crazy to me to think about that, you know? It's so, like I said, Back Like We Never Left is truly a feat that Toby Fox and the team is so easily able to accomplish. It's absolutely jarring how much they very clearly love this world, and it goes to show in how well they manage to blend humor and, like, genuine moments like that. And so, of course, it's stuff like that that gets you hooked in. You're like, you know, what is going on with Ralsei, you know? And it was really like chapter 3 really, like, set the tone for it. Chapter 4 really put things into perspective. It's crazy how well they were able to do that, right? But even, like, the simplistic story of chapter 3, not simplistic, excuse me, but even the more, like, focused story around Mr. Tenna and his situation in chapter 3 was so elite. It was so good to learn, like, you know, because we immediately learned and finally came to understand a little bit better what the Dark World really was. And, you know, at the end of chapter 2, when Hollow Chris, is what I'm going to call it from now on, made the Dark World and created, you know, Mr. Tenna's world here, it was so, you know, jarring to get to know about Mr. Tenna and his situation, because, you know, that's just Chris's TV. A TV that, you know, has been watching them just as much as they have been watching it the entire time. You know, he was part of the family at one point, he felt, you know, and eventually he felt abandoned and left to rot and dust, you know, because, you know, everybody else has things to do now, you know. Toriel's got her thing going on, you know, Chris and, Chris is at school all the time, hanging out with Susie now and stuff like that, you know, or whatever was going on beforehand. And all of the friends that Chris had beforehand, and all of the, like, everybody that would used to visit, you know, Azriel, of course, has gone off to college, and Noelle and Des are kind of doing their own thing. They don't hang out with Chris like they used to. Whatever their situation is that's going on, you know, for lack of a better way to put it right now, you know, obviously Asgore isn't there and things like that, you know. It was just such a, like, real situation, like, you know, to feel that abandonment, to feel that loneliness, you know, especially after, like, so many years of just having that warmth of family. You know, Tenna was really feeling that loss, and so, you know, acting out with the whole TV time and not ever wanting them to leave and stuff like that, and making them play game after game after game, it makes sense. It makes plenty of sense, of course, you know. So, you know, that story in of itself was just so, it was so good. It was so good, right? But man, what a journey that was. In my own personal playthrough, I did record a lot of it. I do have, like, maybe I'll upload, like, a highlights version of, like, a majority of my playthrough. I don't have, like, the ending recorded because I've decided, you know what, like, unless I'm streaming this is kind of like whatever. So I just kind of, like, I have all my reactions, but honestly, I don't know what I'm gonna do with it yet. So maybe I'll put it into a highlights format if anybody's interested. But you know, going through and, you know, seeing all this fun happening and stuff like that, and then you get back into the reality of things very heavily when you are, you know, on your journey to, you know, fight the secret boss of that stage, or of that chapter, which is the Roaring Night, right? But there's a very specific thing that you need to do to be able to, you know, I mean, I guess you don't have to do a lot of the extra stuff or any of the setup, but it makes things a little bit better. I still have yet to I have to go back, because I was just so, like, enamored with the story that I was, like, I was getting frustrated trying to beat the secret boss. I'm like, you know what? I probably have plenty of time before the next chapter. I will come back and do both secret bosses on my own time when I have free time. And so, you know, going through the process of getting what you need to do to really set up for chapter 3's boss is really what puts, like, a lot of extra emphasis and story into perspective. You know, Chris, you know, doing whatever needs to be done to, you know, get those keys and, you know, see, like, the original beta form of the games that he was playing. It was just so dark. It was so Five Nights coded. It was alarming. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. It's just like, man. And Susie, you just gotta love Susie as a character, man. She cares. It's been, technically, in their universe, it's been 3 or 4 days total. But her development throughout all of this was just so, like, it was just so satisfying to see. So satisfying. I love Susie as a character so incredibly much. And, like, even, like, and getting to know Rousey too a little more these last 2 chapters really changed it up. You know what I'm saying? Going back to Castletown and, like, seeing what kind of character Rousey really is. This character that cares so much more about everybody before himself. It is so incredibly sad. You know, seeing Rousey's room completely empty and Susie being pissed because Rousey doesn't care about himself nearly as much as he cares for them, because they have rooms in Dark World that they're not even using, and he's putting in so much more effort for that than he is himself. And, you know, you get to learn more about Rousey throughout chapter 4 as well. You know, what Rousey is really, you know, keeping from them, you know, trying to keep their sanity, because the Dark World really is a scary place, you know, and he tries to keep that smile on for them. Truly an incredible character. Truly incredible. I love this story so damn much that I literally cannot get enough of it. And like, chapter 5 is going to go absolutely balls to the wall. Well, maybe for fun, I'll play through all 4 chapters again. If I could do it on stream, though, I think that's going to be my next goal, is to build up enough, you know, equipment and time and, you know, people, you guys, so I could, you know, comfortably stream through Deltarune again, because this game is incredible, man. This game is so good. And the craziest part is I haven't even gotten to the gameplay aspect, right? on a technical feat, this game blows Undertale out of the water. Out of the water. Like, it's not even close. It's so scary. Right? Because, like, every single enemy is so insanely unique. So unique. That it's crazy. Right? You literally are fighting these enemies that are coming up with the most creative attacks, you know. I'm trying to remember like all the enemies that you're fighting up against, and on top of that, you know, it creates the most like unique and fun acts. Like, it's so fun to act in this game. It's so hard for me to imagine going through and doing a whatever the equivalent of a genocide run is, I guess, because, you know, it is optional. I don't know how much just yet it changes the story if you are to do that, because I've never done a killer route playing through these games. I've always acted, and I'm going to keep acting until the end of, you know, chapter 7 when we get the finale. But all of these insanely creative attacks, like, I'm so glad I got to witness them, because I feel like they would be things would be very, very different if I weren't acting, if I were actually just genuinely fighting to kill. You know? And don't even get me started on the secret boss fights. Jesus Christ. I'm gonna get an ulcer thinking about it. But they always... I'm always blown away. Every single enemy that you encounter, or that I would encounter throughout these playthroughs, I was just blown away by how creative every single one of their attacks are, how unique every single one of them are, how much their personality shines through in their like miniature dialogue or their attacks, and how they interact with, you know, Chris, Susie, and Ralsei and things like that. And then of course there's the NPCs that get involved afterward, you know, like the old man getting involved in chapter 4, and you keep acting and summoning the old man just to see what he does. You know, it's just so much fun all around. Like, the fun truly just never ends. It's always something new. And it's just, that's the beauty of something like Deltarune. You just really never know what you're going to get next. And that's what I love so much about it. Especially because, again, like I said earlier, you really never know what you're going to get, especially when you seamlessly blend, you know, the comedy of everything to the seriousness of everything. Like, in chapter 4, immediately after meeting Carol, which was, like, easily one of, like, the most, like, harrowing parts of the game, because you're just so like nervous for Noelle and Susie and everybody, like, as soon as she shows up, because she obviously has something to do with Chris, don't know what, or with Hollow and Chris or whatever, don't know what yet, but she is involved. There's no doubt about that, right? And so to see her show up and be like, you know, you're welcome anytime, Chris, and then to go outside and use Susie as like a lawnmower to chew up the cheese crackers. Like, you're high-fiving her and shit. Like, it's just so funny. It is just so truly funny to see a situation like that, to be able to seamlessly go from like such a harrowing and freaky situation to pure comedy and have it feel natural. That shouldn't be possible. And bro does it again. Bro does it again. I cannot wait for chapter 5. I'm going to be restless when we get that release date, and I honestly, it better be a shadow drop. Like, I cannot have a release date. I don't want to know at this point. I don't want to know like the exact date. I need next year to just kind of happen, you know, whatever games come out this year that keep me busy, yada yada yada, whatever life stuff keeps me busy, and then just all of a sudden Toby Fox is like, hey, Deltarune tomorrow. And we all jump for joy, because, you know, the wait was non-existent. Because at this point, like, what was it, 2021 or 2 was when we last got chapter 2. That was a wait, dude. 4 years? He said 2026, or they put 2026 as a window, because these games are definitely like on a good track. Like, there's no way we're getting this next year and he's not like damn near done with like chapter 6 by now, right? Or at least like halfway through development for chapter 6 or something. It's hard to imagine anything otherwise. I'm so excited. It's not even funny. getting to see, I think one of the most, like, the craziest things to me is just, like, us not seeing the prophecy. Like, what was Rousey hiding, and what did Susie see that had her so shook up, that had her so, like, in denial, that it was, like, impossible for something like that to happen, that she broke the piece with her bare hands, and it was bleeding? Like, what did she see, man? I gotta know what's going on in that prophecy, right? Because she's talking about all of us. Nobody would let that happen, quote unquote. What does that mean, man? My curiosity is simply through the roof. Man. And don't even get me started. Brother, my bad, my knee hit the thing. Don't even get me started on the music, dog. Oh my god, this soundtrack is crack. Oh my god. I mean, we already knew that it was gonna be, right? Because Toby Fox is a unit, a goat when it comes to music. We've known this since the early days of his fan game, of his Earthbound fan game. I forgot what it was called. But, like, we have always known that Toby Fox was a GOAT when it comes to music. We've seen it in, you know, his fan games. We've seen it in Undertale. We've seen it in Pokemon multiple times in both generations. And we're seeing it again in Undertale, or Deltarune, chapters 3 and 4. The music is so immaculate, and it encapsulates, like, every major moment, whether it be whether it be comedic, whether it be serious, you know, whether it be, like, sweet or thoughtful. Like, it's just... every ounce of music in these games is just a bop, a banger. I need, like, you don't understand how badly I need these soundtracks to be out now. Like, holy crap, I need these soundtracks so bad. Jeez, man. They really did that again. They really did that again. So, in conclusion, right? Deltarune chapters 3 and 4, while definitely, like, are impressive feats because they are so far and above everything that chapters 1 and 2 were already doing, and they just kind of continue to improve on that, so much so that it's absolutely ridiculous that we're still playing the same game at this point. Like, it's just so, like, there's so many technical feats that I was just screaming, like, wow, like, they really went above and beyond to really... this is art. Like, they are really making art here, and they did an incredible job of that. And it was just so... I was just so invested the entire time, right? Like, the game looks beautiful half the time. Like, you know, for such simple, like, pixel art, they go above and beyond to make it look so much fun and colorful and pretty, and it's just so good, right? The music, obviously, is crack cocaine, brother. Like, I need that injected into me yesterday. This music is so insanely good. It has me bopping every 5 minutes. Toby Fox is a unit on whatever instrument he has his hands on. Gameplay-wise, it's so impressive how many different and unique enemies there are, and how everything will surprise you in one way or another in terms of how they managed to do half of this stuff. Like, I literally was walking around every single corner thinking, how did he do it? How do they do this? Man, they are so good at what they do, and it makes me so excited for the next step. And of course, the story in of itself is the most important part to me. It always has been the most important part whenever it comes to games. That's like the most important part to me. That story has me in its grippers, dog. Like, I am locked in. Like, I've got some work to do in terms of both, or I guess multiple channels. This channel, main channel, and another secret project that I'm kind of working on for next month. So, you know, any free time that I have after this, you know, I'm definitely going to find the time to try and, you know, get the secret bosses going, and, you know, even deeper delve into, like, everything, every little secret that both of these chapters had to offer. Because I don't even consider myself bum rushing these games. I literally played through chapter 3 twice because I thought I messed up doing the secret boss situation. And turns out I didn't. I just had to go back and fix something. But, you know, that just goes to show how in love with these games I am, because I was just like, oh, I think I messed up. I'll just completely start over. And just did everything. because why the hell not? That's how locked in I am with this series now. Chapter 5 is going to be goated. The gameplay is so good. The music is so good. The story is absolutely insane. And I'm in there. But I have said enough of my piece, and I'm passing the mic over in your direction, and I want you guys to tell me everything that you're thinking in the comment section below, because I want to know how you guys felt about Deltarune chapters 3 and 4. Were you as invested as I was? Are you locked into this game? Did 3 and 4 feel like a return to form, like you really felt like you were just back at home, you know, enjoying these games, and it just felt so good to come back and you enjoyed yourself with it? Or are you on the opposing side? 3 and 4 didn't really do it for you. It doesn't really feel like Deltarune anymore. Maybe it's too much for you. Maybe you're just not enjoying it like you thought you would. Tell me everything that you guys are thinking in the comment section below, because you know for a fact that I am always going to be down there with you guys. But with that, yes, sir, it does appear to be skedaddle o'clock, so I'm going to go ahead and do just that. I'd like to thank you guys ever so much for watching. I truly do hope you enjoyed. Do me the greatest favor of dropping a like and a comment, and consider subscribing for more content just like this here. And with that, I'm Gonzo. Thanks again, hope you enjoyed, and I'll be seeing you guys in the next video. Do me the greatest favor, taking good ass care, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!
Doing donuts in a bin. I stay funky. Battle goes wherever I am. I stay funky. I don't know who's ready to spit. Just know you're going down with my 58 clips. I stay funky. Honey's taking back to the crib. I stay funky. Get the club popped off like pain. I stay funky. I don't know.